Evidently, our driveway is a little icy. Laura is sideways. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Well, guess we don't have a mom anymore. Hey, where do you want to have mom's funeral?
Oh! Big day. I don't have much of a plan here, but what I am going to try to get done is get the car on the lift, or I guess it's already on the lift. I'm going to get the car on jack stands so I can start taking off the front suspension. I've got everything ready to bolt on for the new front suspension. I've got this engine hoist thing that goes across the shock towers. I've got some jack stands there. So I should be able to do this pretty easily. I've never jacked a car up to take the wheels off while it's on this 4-post lift, but I have the jack trays. There we go. Car on jack stands, and should be able to pop the wheels off now real quick and start to get the suspension off. Car is in the air, wheels are off. I got this thing set. What I think I'm gonna do here is just pull the carburetor off. I have a carburetor lifting plate, put the chains around this thing, put some tension on this. It'll hold the motor while I drop the subframe out. Should be pretty easy, knock on wood. Once I get everything off, I'm going to clean this up just a little bit more, obviously, paint everything black, and then up here, I'll paint these black, repaint this yellow. All this stuff will be black. Put the gravel pan on, and obviously I'm gonna paint this side too, just so it looks nice, and then start bolting this thing together. It's like 50 degrees today, but it's supposed to get really cold again. This is the control arm that's definitely bent. You can obviously tell that now. So. Small update. This is the greasiest, dirtiest car in the universe because it has all of the miles. I've got most of this stuff undone, just working on disconnecting the steering shaft from this thing. Then I can undo the bolts on the top, put tension on the motor, and last thing to do is unbolt the motor mounts and drop this thing. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that part myself. More progress has been made. Let's see. I got most of these bolts out. I gotta lower it down so I can get the nuts on the other side of those. But what I will show you now, I'm not big on putting companies on blast, but these are brand new Doug's headers. They don't look like it. They're beat to hell. They're the worst headers ever. I think we had the hookers or something before. They fit better than these ones. This, I can't get the starter out with these headers, number one, which sucks. So I have to take the header off of the head to drop this mini starter out. At least with the other headers, I could get the starter. I got the factory starter out with the header on the car. It was a nightmare, but like this one is not even close. So another thing, the headers literally hit the transmission right here, which I'm sure can't be good. Like, they're just terrible. So I'm kind of bummed because they were not inexpensive. I think I paid like $700 or $800 for these stupid things. And ultimately I'm gonna take them off, put something on. They also hang really low. They drag on everything, which is why they're all bashed up. So not especially stoked with how that worked out. I didn't wrap it with like heat stuff. So I fried the solenoid, so I have to have the starter rebuilt. On Power Tour last year, we had to like jump it with a screwdriver every other time we tried to start the car warm, which was a pain. So this is where I'm gonna leave it off for now. I got the upper control arm bolts off on that side. I got one of the upper control arm bolts off on this side. I have to take the master cylinder off to put the WilWood one on anyway, so that one will be a lot easier to get to once I have the master cylinder off. I'm just out of time right now, so I can't do that, but I think pretty much I have to disconnect the brake lines, the power steering lines, put this engine support thing on, take the carburetor off so I can do that, and then I'm ready to drop the subframes. It's a few days later. My dad was here this weekend, so I had him help me take the hood off. That's just gonna make it a lot easier, I guess, to suspend the engine and all that, so I don't have to worry about damaging the hood. Also, I have new hood hinges, well, used hood hinges, because these ones are toasted. I'm gonna pull these off. I think what I'm gonna do today is get some of the interior trim pieces out, because I have some killer carbon fiber vinyl that I'm gonna wrap them in, and then once I have that done, I'll pull the carburetor off and secure the engine to this thing, so I can start yanking the subframe. I don't know if I'll get to that today, but yeah, get some progress today while it's a little bit warmer out. As is always the case when I'm working on stuff, I got completely sidetracked. So I got both door panels off. This is important because I have new window tracks for it because the windows flop around in here and it's super annoying. I can't for the life of me figure out how to get this piece out, so I abandoned that project. But I did get the carburetor off and got this thing installed and tightened up so that I can drop the motor mounts and all that kind of stuff. So I think what I'm gonna do is separate the ball joints out of the control arms so that it's not nearly as tall when I lower everything down. I might even just kind of start taking it all apart just to make it easier, because I am probably gonna end up doing it by myself. So I'm just gonna start zipping bolts off here now and see how far I get. I am dangerously close to dropping the subframe on this. So what I did, I separated the ball joints on both sides. I actually tried to take the lower control arms out, but they're just a massive pain. So right now, brake lines are disconnected, power steering rack, or power steering thing is gone. Motor mounts are disconnected. All I have to do, I've got one bolt holding it on this side, one bolt holding it on this side, and then I can drop this cross member out. This thing seems to be working just fine. Obviously, there's no real weight on it yet because there's still bolts holding the cross member in, but I think I might just go for it. So what I've got now is the floor jack holding up the cross member. There's 2 bolts in the cross member still. I'm just gonna zip those last 2 bolts out, then I can lower the floor jack. That way, I can also monitor the engine to make sure everything looks good, and stuff gets haywire, I can just zip the bolts back in the cross member. But so far this seems good. I've got this kind of one. All right, the bolts are out. See what happens when I drop this floor jack. Oh yeah, that's still very, very firm. What? A little confused because all of the bolts are out. Oh yeah, it's moving. There it is. It's like, it just doesn't want to come off the motor mounts. The motor mount back bolts are really hard to get to, so I'm gonna try to just finagle it out, but might end up just having to take them all the way off. There it goes. So it's off on this side. Almost off on this side. All right, engine is just freely here. There it is. Woo-hoo-hoo! All right, this is a big step. Oh man. I am glad I did that the way I did, because this doodad here is heavy as hell. So I've got everything off now. Engine is suspended. Check our chains. There was like no creaking or anything. Yeah, that looks wonderful. And this is really just kind of like the support chain, I feel like. I've got 2 loops on there, so should be more than safe. Famous last words. And raise it up and take a look. This looks so bare under here. So I still have to pull out the old motor mounts because the ControlFreak kit comes with the new one, and I don't have a spring compressor here. So I didn't pull out the control arms and original springs and stuff yet, but that'll be super easy once I have the right tool. Got to take off the strut rod mounts as well. Again, that'll be super easy because there's just a bolt on the other side. I have two of the three bolts out. I just have to get the engine compartment ones out. So this is coming pretty good. Not a whole lot of time invested in this yet. This is only, got here at about 1 o'clock, so it's 3:30 now. So I spent about 2.5 hours putzing around doing everything, door panels, front suspension and stuff. So it's pretty user-friendly disassembly so far. Back at the shed, I've got a spring compressor, so I'm gonna pop the shocks out real quick and then pop the springs out and see what else I can come up with, I guess. Nice. All right, shock number 1 is out. Yeah, not a fan of this. I mean, maybe I'm not the smartest guy. I don't see how you get that to lift off of there. Like, am I just dumb? All right. Gosh, this is terrifying. I feel like now that I have it figured out, I should be able to do the other side a lot faster. Both springs, shocks are out. I actually have the bolts out of this already, or the nuts off of the bolts. I should just be able to pop the bolts right out. Oh yeah. Awesome. Lower control arm is out. These 2 bolts are the only ones that they don't give you fresh ones for in the ControlFreak kit, which is totally fine. I will clean these up in the parts washer, probably paint them black or something. Now I'm just gonna kind of go through and zip off as many things as I can to get this ready to paint. Got a fair amount done. Got this stuff primed, just roughly. Didn't really tape anything off, just used cardboard and stuff like that because I have a ton of cleanup to do anyway. I just wanted to get a coat on. This is the only part that's gonna be painted body color. This is just gonna be black in here. I just wanted to get some primer over the spots that had raw metal. So I got the hood hinges off, all the front suspension stuff is out, and I still have to get this control arm out. There's just one more bolt, which is right there, and to get to the back side of it is a little tricky. I think this is where I'm gonna leave it for here. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, share, and lots more to come.